Okay, the Angeline neighborhood in Land O'Lakes is one we've talked about a bit before. Quite a bit more has happened since I last updated you guys. So I'm gonna go a little more in depth. We're gonna go proximity, style, size, and costing of the Tampa Explain series to explain this big new neighborhood in Land O'Lakes. Here we go. I'm Sam, and this is the Living in Tampa channel, and as always, we make these videos for you about what it's like to live and move to Tampa. A lot of our clients relocate from across the country, and new construction neighborhoods like Angeline are great options for them. If you're interested in hopping on one of our webinars, grabbing our relocation guide, or just reaching out, links are down in the description. We would love to hear from you. So, Angeline is a big neighborhood. At first, they said it was gonna be 4,500 homes. Now everybody likes to say 11,000, but that includes all the apartments on the south side of it. I'm right here outside of the Angeline Academy, the Angeline Academy of Innovation. A lot of open land right around this. And this is going to be developed into like a town center. The big Crystal Lagoon for the neighborhood and available to the public will be right in this area. There will be some commercial. There'll probably be a little bit more multifamily. We'll check out the apartments at the very end. But all kinds of stuff are right in this area. Also, Moffett is making massive headway on their research facility, which I'm pretty surprised by. So let's get into it. We will get into all kinds of details, price ranges, all this kind of stuff, but we're gonna start with the map. You guys know me by now, you know I loved starting here on the map. Let's look at exactly where Angeline is. And we're gonna talk about proximity first. Where is it on the map? How does that relate with everything around it? I really like this about this neighborhood. Its location and price are the big determinants in any real estate transaction. So on the map you see here, this is the northwest corner of Land O'Lakes. And this is land that used to be owned by the Bexley family, just to the south of the new Angeline development. Not just the neighborhood, but all the commercial stuff related to it is the Bexley neighborhood. All this runs just on the east side of Veterans Expressway. And Veterans Expressway is one of the things that makes this neighborhood actually really attractive. It might seem a bit further out, but if you're commuting to anywhere down by the airport, it's actually not that bad of a commute because of that toll road. And speaking of commutes, let's look at some commute distances. So let's just see how far the airport is. You can see it right there. Let's look at how far Honeymoon Island is. Let's say you want to go out for a nice beach day. It's not too crazy. And a lot of our clients, they're okay with being up to an hour from the beach, and this is a little bit closer. But let's say you want to go downtown to Amalie Arena, you're going to a Lightning game, or you're going to a concert. It's still a pretty easy commute down to that area because Veterans takes you right down to 275 or Kennedy, and you're just going to jog right over to downtown. Let's say though you're working at the Citibank office on the east side of Tampa over by Brandon. Citibank is a very common destination for developers, you know, IT developers to get jobs down here. So a lot of our clients work there. Let's say you're commuting from here to there. Oh, here's another one. One of our clients that is right now looking at buying a house in this neighborhood needs to commute to MacDill Air Force Base. So let's look at that number too, because yeah, Veterans is fast to get you down to the airport area, but then you get kind of slowed down going through South Tampa, but it's still just not too crazy. And if you watched other videos about this area, especially the Deerbrook video we published a few weeks ago, we talked about how this whole area is going to connect even further. It's actually Ridge Road, which goes over all the way to the coast, comes all the way over to Veterans Expressway, and then it's connecting all the way over to US 41 in Land O'Lakes. So it's just stretching across this area to connect everything a bit more. And by connecting over to that area, you have access to other schools. There's not an elementary school over in this area yet, so you can go over to the Dayspring Academy, the Angeline Dayspring Academy, I think that's what they call it, which is a great elementary school over there on 41. But that connection across just makes everything a bit more connected and gives you more options for all kinds of things. Oh, let's do another map real quick. Let's do from this neighborhood to Publix, because there's not a lot of grocery stores close by. Of course, there will be eventually, but there's not right now. And one of the things that makes this location speak to a lot of you is that it's a bit more rural than a lot of the other suburbs, especially the master plan developments. When you look up, when you get the drone up in the air, when you look at the map, you can see kind of how spaced out things are. There's actually, they call it an eco corridor, 834 acre eco corridor between the new commercial stuff, which is down there by the school where we started the video, the apartments, everything else down there. There's this big eco corridor, which is like, you know, preserved land. There's cattle out there. It's a really nice kind of boundary between the neighborhood and the newer like commercial development stuff down there. So let's look at the boundaries on the map a little bit. Just to the west, like I said, the border of the whole area is the Veterans Expressway. Straight west from here is the Starkey Preserve, which is technically in Newport Richey. I live just on the other side of the Starkey Preserve, so I'm very familiar with that area. As you go south on Veterans, along that border, you're going into Odessa. Then you're down to like Highway 54, but we're way further north than that right now. We're at Ridge Road. But because all these roads connect to the Veterans Expressway, they don't feel that far from each other. Then on the north side of Angeline is Highway 52. On the north side of that is San Antonio and Hudson and some other areas up there. But that goes all the way across, also connects to like I-75 further down. There's a lot of ways that this connects to other bigger interstates and toll roads and all those kind of things. Okay, let's talk a bit about style. Now, obviously kind of a master planned vibe. I'm in a model home right now that is built by Dream Finders Homes. All the houses they're building right now, their sign says from the 500s, but it's actually from the 600s. And they have some really good promos right now. Rates down into the 4s, 4.9, and a little bit of incentive cash on top of that. And they have some cool houses. Now these houses are like 3,000 square feet, all of them. 2-story and tall ceilings on the first floor and the second floor. They're actually really nice. They even have some 5-bedroom houses that are over 3,500 square feet for around 800,000. It's pretty hard to find that big of a house in the Tampa area in general, and especially for that price. Usually we're at 1.2, even higher with no incentives. So that's a really good deal for that big of a house. So the style of homes is gonna matter. They're all, you know, new construction, pretty similar stucco houses. Some of the areas have nice tile roofs, and this kind of like rural vibe in the midst of that is part of it. But you still have kind of this resort style vibe. And I know if you're looking at new construction outside of the Tampa area in the suburbs, you're looking for something like that typically. Now, resort style vibes come with resort style prices on some of the things like the amenities, which we'll get to at the end when we cover cost. But everything feels very manicured, intentional. There's nice parks and sidewalks and all those kind of things that matter, whatever season of life you're in, whether if you have little kids like me, or if you're buying in the active adult community that's part of Angeline, and you just wanna be out and you wanna make friends and you wanna do all those kind of things that you moved to Florida for. So a lot of options with that. Okay, keeping with the more rural vibe, master plan community, they have a big community farm here. It's gonna be a farm to table kind of experience, super interesting. They're building out also a private elementary school. Kind of bummed that it's private. I don't know why they would do that right here at the entry to the neighborhood, but K through 5 there, and then on the other side of the neighborhood is the 6 through 12 school. So school options are kind of limited right now, just right here by the neighborhood. Okay, our next big criteria is size. I like to talk about the size of the town, size of the neighborhood, size of the houses. So the size of the town, Land O'Lakes is not that big. I mean, you're looking at really, depending on how you bring in unincorporated, you're looking at kind of this 30 to 50,000 people. Now keep in mind Wesley Chapel, that's very popular, is about 60,000. Newport Richey on the west side of here is 150,000, so quite a bit bigger. Has an older downtown, some things like that. Land O'Lakes is kind of rural in general. This farm actually fits the vibe, which is nice. But also the size of the town, it just doesn't feel big. It's connected to all these other towns. You're gonna go over to Newport Richey for stuff. You're gonna go down to Odessa. You're gonna go over to Wesley Chapel. You're gonna go over to Lutz. You're gonna pop down into Tampa or Carrollwood. It's very connected to all these other areas, so that makes it feel quite a bit bigger. The community though is very spread out and it's nice. It's 6,200 acres. The whole Angeline development. They're gonna build about 4,000 houses up here, but they're all still kind of tucked away in these areas. You have this 55+ area that's kind of over on its own, but the rest of it is nice and spaced out. Townhouses on the north side here that are a little bit further from Tampa. The townhouses are super affordable, it's just shocking. Then as you go further south, you have other houses. And then they always build the biggest houses last. So DRB, I'm sure will build out here. Some of these other like nice, more modern builders will come out here eventually. Right now, it is Lennar Active Adult, Lennar Townhouses, Lennar Single Family Homes, and then it's DR Horton Townhouses and Single Family Homes. And then you have that one other dream builder. But I'm over here checking out the chickens. I have a nice little chicken run over here. Bunch of chickens. I also have a bunch of chickens eating all the leftover produce. It's cool. Okay, cost is next on our list of the Tampa explained criteria. Cost is always a giant factor, obviously, to everyone. You can only afford what you can afford. Sometimes you can afford more and you just want to keep your budget down. I get that too. This has a lot of very affordable options. We got townhouses in the high 200s. We got single family homes in the mid 300s. All kinds of great options. Now, you're gonna have HOA, you're gonna have CDD, you're gonna have those kind of things in this neighborhood. So just because, say for example, our client Damar bought a house here recently for $374, VA loan, awesome incentives, didn't have to put any money down, but he still does have, you know, HOA and CDD. CDD for that house is around $2,200 a year, added on to his property taxes. His HOA is about $300 a month. Then once they finish the lagoon, they add on another $75 per month for the lagoon membership. And let's talk a little bit about incentives, because that is a big reason that a lot of you are interested in new construction right now, and it's a great reason to be interested. A lot of great incentives that get your rate down, and a lot of them get your rate down into the low 5s for the life of your loan. Not just for the first couple years. There's a lot of ways to get it down forever, which is great. Price reductions on top of that, and like the first builder we stopped at, they have, you know, $20,000 in free upgrades with their design center. A lot of different packages like that make it way more affordable to get the house that you want. So Angeline does have kind of a different vibe overall, and that is kind of the selling feature of the 6,200 acres. 3,000 of it will not be built on. We're calling it preserved, meaning it can never be built on. It's not like all of that is like state preserve or something. So 3,000 so a little less than half of the entire development will not be built on. Super unique vibe. If you're interested in a neighborhood like this, we'd love to hear from you. Obviously call, text, or email anytime. But I'm just curious too, like kind of what your thoughts are on these master plan communities. What value do they add to you? Would you consider them? I think it's a great option, and specifically this one I think is a great option for a lot of people. And they take a while to develop. A lot of those factors are at play, but great prices, great location, a unique development overall, very kind of unique spot, awesome toll road nearby, jobs coming up here, seems like, not a whole lot at a time. It's another kind of complaint I have about, you know, they're building some commercial stuff, but it's not gonna create that many jobs. Even the cancer research facility, it's not gonna create actually very many jobs. It's like a few hundred jobs. It's probably as many jobs to build it as it is once it's finished. So, I don't know, curious as these neighborhoods, or as these kind of bedroom communities become more of places where people live, work, and play, like kind of how that trajectory will go. But we'd love to know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for coming by. Also, they wouldn't let me in the apartment area. It's not available for normal people yet, just construction crew.